Hey everybody, John Grimsmo here, and in this video, I want to go over the power, plumbing, lighting, and air that we set up for this shop. A lot of forethought went into this, so I'm looking forward to showing you guys the whole process. We've got a bunch of old cell phone footage that happened between, throughout the process, so we'll dig into that first. All right, so in this building, building 2, G2, it came with 600 volts, 200 amps, which is pretty decent as far as power goes. They put a 100 amp splitter under the ground, through the concrete, to a junction box, whatever they call it, on the other side, which made the electrician's job a lot easier. So half the power's already on the other wall, and then half the power's on this wall. So the electricians put in the splitter box for the kern. All these were here. I don't think we're using them right now. They put in these for the kern accessories. One's for the kern, one's for the paper band filter, one's for the Aroa robot. West splitter, these are for the UMAX, and then one for the chiller right here. So, and then the transformer that we got, this is a, pretty sure the kern wanted 400 volts. So this is stepping down, 75 kVA transformer. This thing was like 3,000 bucks, crazy. The electricians welded up an epic stand for it. They bolted everything to the ground, bolted it to the wall. This thing is massive. So it's not straightforward. Like, this was a pretty big power job for us to pull off, for the electricians to pull off. They were here for quite a long time. The bill was very expensive, but they did a lot of work. So no regrets, but it was a lot of money. So it was nice to have the splitter over there because we didn't have to run power lines up and over or under the concrete. So come on over this way. So they added this panel block right here. Here's the splitter that came up. So you look right here, power lines are coming up through the ground. Splitter box, they added a splitter there, and then it goes one for the lapping machine, one for the Mori, an extra one for later. Torno Swiss lathe, Nakamura lathe, and then each one's got its own. And then you can see the transformers. They mounted them all up on the walls. So there's 4 along this wall. And then what's really cool is they use this unistrut going across so that the drops to the machine are up and over. And if you look just over that way, you can see we got the same thing for the Tornos and the same thing for the Nakamura with a little support rod to the top. Really, really epic setup. I really love it. Like, the goal for this shop was nothing on the ground. I want 3 feet of space behind the machines, nothing on the ground, and it's working out great. And then we can string the power, like the 110 line, the air lines over with these too. So that worked out really, really well. Power. Yeah, lapping machine, same story. At the old shop, we used to have the transformers on the ground behind each machine, and it just kills your access space, and it kills this whole area that you shouldn't put anything on top, and this is so much nicer. More work, more time, more money, but done. Done. And then we'll walk over to the UMAC machines over here. These are like my little pet project for the future kind of machines. The wiring job was actually kind of a big deal for these. Kind of confusing how they set it up. So same unistrut over here, but they needed several boxes because the machine runs on 400, but the spindles run on 230. So you need actually 2 sets of power going into the machine, which is just weird. But they figured it out, they made it good, it's awesome, they have power, they turn on, they're good. There's just a couple like maintenance issues we gotta figure out with these machines. But yeah, that about wraps up the power. Like I said, it was a big job, but I'm glad we did it right. I'm glad we had the savings to do it right, and I'm glad it's done and it's gorgeous. So next, let's go on to plumbing. What's up guys, John Grimsmo here, bringing you the next part to our move series, plumbing. Very, very important. Check this out. Okay, we're still in the floor stage, but we're planning the plumbing. First layer of epoxy's down. Anyway, so I've got my plumber, Andy. We're checking out where I want the sinks. I want a sink there, I want a sink there, and then on the other side of the shop, I want a sink there, and I want a sink there, and I eventually want a centralized coolant filling station around the shop. So we're trying to plan for that too. Now in this entire building, there's no plumbing. There's no drain, there's no feed, there's no hot water, there's no cold water. So it's a somewhat involved setup here. So we got to get not only, maybe we'll do cold water and then put heaters at each sink or something like that. We're playing with a lot of different ideas. But we also have to get the water back into the bathrooms and the feed over there. So that's what we're working on right now. In this room, this is basically going to become our kitchen. Will it be pretty easy to put sinks there? On that wall right there?
Aside from there being no waste, obviously you got water there.
Oh, maybe there's no floor drain. We'll see.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Yeah, we're realizing that this is just a sink, not even a bathroom, just a sink. There's another bathroom right here, and downstairs the two bathrooms are right here. So all the water service for the entire building is like here. But really nice bathrooms, huh? Actual tile, really nice big mirror.
Oh yeah, there's lots of room there. So yeah, again, we could see, you know, we may be able to keep that pump discharge coming in the ceiling to get it to here. If we can keep it above, wicked. If not, we'll have to strap it to the wall.
All right.
And then you'll just have to build a bulkhead or something, or a knee wall or something over top.
Next thing on our list, plumbing. This entire building had no water access in or out. There's no floor, no drains in the floor, no plumbing coming in. We do a lot of sinks, we fill coolant, we need water, we need washing, we need access. So plumbing was a big thing. So what we did, there's plumbing in the offices over there. So I consulted with a plumber and the guy came in and we came up with a great plan. We ran plumbing, I guess the blue and the red are hot and cold, coming from the water heater, from the utilities. So they go in, and then I wanted, at the last shop we had one sink downstairs. We used to wash everything in the bathroom sink and that sucked. And then we installed a couple extra sinks and it was like golden. So I wanted 2 double sinks in here and 2 single sinks. So we have 4 sink cells. So we have the hot and the cold water coming in. We got a double sink here, nice unit. I wanted taps with hot and cold separate, not the thingy in the middle, and not knobs, because when your fingers are oily with coolant, the knobs suck. So little tabs. It was nice to think forward ahead about that. 2 sinks. So this is basically the lapping sink, and it's the one, certainly the one that's been used the most so far. We had it mounted up like very high. Actually, I'm gonna get a tape measure because I want this on film. I'll be right back. All right, how high did we make this thing? 43 inches to the lip of the sink. I don't know what rules are and standards and kitchen heights and stuff. It's really high. And even after we put it in, we're like, whoa, that is really high. But you're in here, your hands are at the bottom of the sink the whole time. This is actually perfect floor height for me and for all the guys. And if like Barry needs to use it, maybe we'll get him a step stool or something. But yeah, it's a little high, but I don't think anybody's complained about it yet. So that worked out really well. So hot and cold water comes in. You can see over here, it goes to the second single sink. And then from there, maybe stand right there. So from there, it goes to the single sink, comes up here. I had them put in a hot and cold like garden hose attachment. We'll be using this for filling mop buckets. I think that'll work really well. Goes in, goes all the way up over. They bolted unistruts to the ceiling. They insulated the lines so that they don't condensate and drip in the winter time or in the summertime. And then water over to the other side too, because we have to get water from this wall up and over to the other wall. Okay, let's go to the other side. So same thing over here, just got some cut garden hoses for mop filling. mop bucket filling. Added a single sink right here. Boom, boom. Nice sturdy unit. And then the double sink is over here. Now here's where it gets interesting. When there's no, like normally the drain from a sink is gravity. Gravity takes it all the way back. You can't do that here. So what we did is that sink drains down over to this sink drains down over to here, to a, what do we have here? A Liberty Pumps Model 405 commercial drain pump, half horsepower. So this is basically a sump pump, but an enclosed sump pump. It's so quiet you can't even hear it turn on. You just see the pipes like jiggle a little bit. It's got a float level inside, so once the water kind of reaches it and fills it up to the float, it turns on and it shoots the water up, 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 up. And if you see on the wall right there at the top of this one, it's a drain, a vent to go outside. Apparently that's like required for code. But then the other one goes up and over, and if you check and look at the ceiling, you follow it down. So we have to pump the water across the ceiling, around all the lights and everything, around the garage door, down, out, and then over towards the building drain, whatever you call it, the sewage outlet. So yeah, that was kind of a big job too. But I wanted sinks everywhere. It's gonna be good. I have no regrets. And we did it right. Once again, we did it right. And now we have sinks. The last thing we gotta do, when I originally talked with the plumber, I'm like, if we're gonna do it right, I want hot water at the tap all the time. So do we put on-point water heaters under each tap? Or do we do some sort of recirculating system, or what? What can we do? Because I don't want to wait, a minute for hot water to get from the water heater up and over and around and to wash my hands. So we had a couple of options. You could put an on-point there. You could have a recirculating hot water system, so run a hot water line all the way back to the water heater, so the hot water is kind of always pumping. Or, and I'm not exactly sure about how he's going to do this, but there was something about, like we haven't done it yet, but adding another pump for the hot water circuit that turns on when the water is a little cold and there's some sort of recirculating temperature sensor or something. I don't know, we still got to work on that. I'm unclear on the details, but we talked about that. And I'd probably want to do that eventually. Anyway, it's good to have water.
Hey everybody, John Grimsmo here. Today we're going to talk about lighting. So originally, this place had just 4 fluorescent lights, and it was not very bright. I'll show you some footage from our airline install of what the light density was like, and then check this out. So right now, the electricians were really fast. They put in 4 on that side, 4 on that side, and I'm like, I still want brighter. So they're gonna put in 4 more down the center. They gotta move the fans a little bit, and it's gonna be good. Oh yeah, this is good. This is bright. I want it bright. So we ended up going with Premise model. These are the UFO lights, and they're 150 watt. They run on standard 120. They're 500K, and I think these ones are listed as 80 plus CRI. We had trouble finding anything 90 plus, but it should be totally fine. And Jim's just wiring this guy up to show us up close how bright it is. All right, got a 5th one installed, so now we have like an X shape, and that added a lot of flood right to the middle. I like that a lot. And then the fan's so close right now, we're gonna see if it chops and how annoying it is. Oh yeah, you can see it here. It's neat seeing the shadow pattern if he's standing like right in the middle, basically. Because you got two on the sides, the middle, and then the two on this side. I gotta share my excitement. I'm so excited. This is awesome. All right, lights are up, lights are done. Check this out. Dimmer switches installed on the wall. They had to rewire basically everything. These lights are really cool because they have a 0 to 10 volt input, which you give it like 1 volt and it dims it down. You give it 8 volts and it's, 80%. And it works. It works super cool. So, off switches. I had them, let's do that one. Okay, check this out. So right now we have the 3 on, and then I had them set up the next 3, and then the next 3, and then the next 3. So, let's go off. 1, there's the 3, 2, 3, 4. And then check this out, I'm gonna dim. Oh, they're all dimmed actually. I'm gonna crank up the back ones, crank up the second to the back, crank up the next, and crank up the next. The exposure on the camera is kind of making it weird, but this is full brightness. One more quick thing. It's, people ask me if I'm worried or nervous or freaking out or anything, and I'm kind of not. There's a lot to do, and it's process. It's just one foot after the other. Do this, and then I gotta do that, and then I gotta do that, and don't forget to do that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. And then I get to the end, and I know that I'm done. I think I am confident that I have everything I need done tonight, so that tomorrow they can crush it. Shouldn't be any, there'll be stuff that goes wrong, but we're prepared for it. We'll handle it, no big deal. I'm calm. I'm excited, but I'm not like jumping up and down because I'm so busy just step by stepping it that I'm not freaking out, either excited or scared or nervous. It's like a mix. So I'm doing good. I'm calm. There's a lot going on, but it's my wife reminded me it's only been 2 weeks that we've had this shop. Today's what, the 18th, 19th? So that many days. And we've done a lot. We've done all the lighting, we've done all the flooring. Electrician's done most of the work. Plumber has come in and like planned everything out, and it's like 2 weeks. That's incredible. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, that's where we're at.
This is Fraser. He hasn't been on video enough lately.
Nope.
He's behind the camera all the time. But yeah, we want to get you on camera more because you're a good personality and you're a cool dude. And you're funny and you're good, and it'll be good on camera. But it's hard when you're holding the camera all the time.
Very hard.
Anyway, Fraser and I sat down. We did a lot of work on the lighting. We each did our own research. We compiled it together, and we're like, oh, we're on the same page. Okay, so tell them what we need. Like when we're sitting in the old shop, what did you want for lighting from a videographer's standpoint?
Yeah, okay, so a big thing is not only just the lighting, but actually the floor too. So you need like kind of like a natural bounce, like a reflective surface, which you kind of inherently did with the choice of epoxy floor, which is amazing for us. But the thing like I'm specifically looking for, like for videos, is we're looking for kind of like a catch light in your eye. So if you like really like look closely, it kind of brings like a natural perspective to your, like, it makes you feel more human. They do it like CG characters. Like they did it with like Thanos in Marvel.
Really?
If you look and watch like the Avengers, you see like a specular highlight in his eye, and it makes you look more human. And like if I look at your eye right now, I can see the
lights
reflection.
in your, exactly.
Right? So we're looking for that.
But not too much.
Not too much.
Not like the on-camera light where it's like, blah.
Exactly. And we used to get a lot of comments of John, like, you look like you need more sleep.
And which was a combination of truth and in the old shop it was just like top lighting.
Yeah.
So it just brings shadows right under your eyeballs.
Yeah, so that was a big issue that we had before of like the raccoon eyes effect. You had the big dark circles. So that'll be kind of fixed inherently by the flooring.
Oh, because you get the bounce back.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And also natural, like we have white lights around basically everywhere now, and the white walls, and a mix between natural daylight and what we have here. We actually have windows now, which is pretty sweet.
It's awesome.
But we're looking, the big thing too for us was the color temperature.
Yeah. So you
did-
can buy lights from like 3,000, which is like yellow,
Yeah.
to 6,500 or
Yeah,
higher, which is like
a little
purple.
a little more blue
Yeah.
hue to it. So yeah, so we picked 5,000 Kelvin. So to put it in retrospect, if I want to balance my camera for white balance in pure sunlight, it's around 5,500 Kelvin.
Okay.
So 5K is like a nice, true like white balance.
They look great.
And that way we don't get a weird green or magenta cast on our skin. Or naturally I'll go in and kind of pull the reds out of people's skin in videos.
Okay.
Because that's like an inherent, like depending on the person, red is a kind of hue that shows up a little bit more, and it makes people look a little funny. It makes them look cold.
Yeah.
Like if they have too much red in their skin.
I can see that.
So we're looking for, the color temperature is huge. We knew we wanted over 5,000. And 5,000 was like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because we have like video lights that I'm bringing into the studio now that are balanced for daylight, like 5K, 5,500K. And it's huge to have like the mix with daylight, and it kind of just looks natural with our lights here, which is huge. Not only that, but they're dimmable, which is huge. So if you want to go show them that, yeah, so we hooked them up on dimmer switches back over there, and that's a big thing for us. So like when I'm filming, if I want to kill the lights over there, I'm able to do that and have a nice key light and softbox to kind of enhance John and talk about that specular highlight that we were talking about before. It just kind of adds like a more real feeling. You kind of get the pop from the background, which is cool. And we can do like dramatic mood lighting, which is really cool. Like
Which we haven't actually done yet, but we will. It's there.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot just on even like building a set of a place where we can actually go and film, where it's like constant controlled lighting. Here is, yes, it's controlled, but it's like, this is like the guerrilla warfare style of stuff where we film, and then we're gonna have a place where we can actually sit down with clean audio all the time and not always have to use the lab mics. But lighting in here is huge, not only for filming, but like the guys need to see what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's good. It's really good for seeing what you're doing. There's very, very little shadowing on the ground, very little like dead spots of lighting, maybe in the very back against the wall, but we don't do much work, and we can do spot lighting for that. It's bright. So we went with kind of, you can probably see from that perspective, like triangle quadrants. So you got the 3 in the front. Those are tied on the same dimmer, the same light switch, and then the next 3, and then the next 3, and then the next 3. So when you come in the morning, you're like pop, 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 and you turn them on, it's like boom, 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 boom. It's really cool.
It looks really sweet in here.
Yeah, and it's fun, and I like it. You don't want to stare at the ceiling too much, otherwise you like get the sunspot.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything turned out nice.
It looks real good in here.
Yeah.
It's real good in here. And for those like camera nerds out there, before we used to have to shoot like at ISO 1600 in the old shop, which means your camera sensitivity to light. So it's kind of like, think of like when you just wake up and you crank the lights on in the morning, and it's all blown out. It's like, oh God, I can't see. Here is, we're shooting at like 160 ISO.
Oh geez.
Which is like
a 10th.
And you get a cleaner image out of it. So it's less noise.
Okay.
Which is good. And the big thing too is like we can't have this flickering because we shoot slow motion here.
That was a big thing, yeah.
So we shoot a lot of 60 frames and a lot of 120 frames per second stuff.
Yeah.
And then we output to a 30 FPS timeline. So if we do 120 frames per second, it's 4 times as slow. But you have to crank your shutter speed to match, to be double your frame rate. So if I'm shooting 120 frames a second, my shutter speed has to be as close to 1/240 as I can, which on this camera is 1/250. But sometimes when your shutter speed goes crazy, it can go out of sync with the lights. So I actually took this camera setup to the lighting store.
And you're like, plug it in.
I was like, dim the light, plug it in. I need to shoot at a bunch of different frame rates because if it flickers, it's useless.
Especially when it dims, because the way they pulse width modulate the lighting to make it dim, you'll see it going like this at a slow frame rate, which is stupid. We can't have that.
No,
so.
not full Grimsmo.
Exactly.
But here is, we can dim it at any length, any power, and I can record on any shutter speed, any frame rate, and they're not going to dim because we chose the LED UFO lights.
Perfect.
So, pretty huge.
Yeah, and the lights were only, what were they, like 190 per light or something?
160, 180, I think,
like,
Canadian.
It's not bad.
No, so they're like 125 US almost.
Yeah,
130 US.
And we got 12 of them, so whatever that is. But and then plus install was probably double that again.
Yeah.
But worth it, like so worth it. Lighting is something you never regret doing right.
Oh God.
Unless you like blow too much money on it. But I mean, Yeah, quality light, like terrible lighting is just gross and you live with it and you're like, oh, whatever. But like quality lighting, you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then you forget about it and you're just spoiled forever. So that's us right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely spoiled here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's basically it on lighting. And then next we're going to air.
Airlines, let's do it.
Sweet.
Get back behind that camera. But thank you for coming on camera, that was fun.
What's up guys, John Grimsmo here. Today is airline day. It's Sunday. We got me, we got Angelo, we got Angelo's brother, and we're gonna put in some Rapid Airlines. So we bought about 6,000 US dollars worth of Rapid Air pipes for these two buildings, this one and the other one. 20 feet long, 1-inch pipe. Here's all the fittings and hookup hoses. Lots of fittings. So we got a sweet plan. Their website was great. Helped me lay out exactly what I want. Where all the drops are. Here's the two buildings. So basically, drop, 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 elbow. These are the garage doors, up and around, da-da-da. Yeah, we'll get this figured out. There's some goodies in this box. Regulators, all the connectors. It's full. Cut test. How sharp is your Norseman? This was a fun one. So we assembled that all on the ground, Angelo did, and we snaked it up and over those guys. All right, so bit of an interesting story with the Skyjack. My electrician rented it because he's going to need it to do the LED lights and everything else. So we said, can we have it a couple days early so we can use it to put in the airlines? So Angelo brought in his brother, Nick, who's a certified, lift operator, and he's got his certifications and everything. So he's doing it all fully safe and everything. Except we had it delivered, we drove it on Friday to park it, and then it did not work today at all. So we were going back and forth with the company, being a Sunday. Let's go somewhere quieter. Okay, being a Sunday, they're closed, so it was tough getting a hold of somebody. But they sent a guy, they fixed it, they replaced a little contactor that was frozen because we had like huge amounts of rain this weekend, and then it froze this morning. So even the padlock out front for the gate was iced shut. So, but yeah, so the lift didn't work. It's already, let's see, what time is it? I can't drop down on my phone while it's recording. It's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and we haven't had the Skyjack yet. Anyway, things are going great otherwise. We've got all the pipes laid out. So the Skyjack work is going to be quick. And we don't really need it for most of the shop because we're just doing a 9-foot line height. But we definitely need it to get up and over the garage doors. And I don't like the idea of being, having your head like 17 feet in the air on a ladder that's flimsy and stuff. And this, nah. And besides, the electrician was going to have this thing here tomorrow anyway, so everything's working out perfectly. Sky's in the front building right now, loading out the, laying out the 3/4 inch lines, and yeah, things are good. Things are super good. So something the epoxy guy was worried about, as we talked about in the epoxy video, was the epoxy not curing by the doors because it's still very cold, but it seems to be cured fine. So when we drove the Skylift in, Skyjack, whatever it's called, we laid some cardboard down, and for any part where the wheels are turning, you got to be very careful of that because you don't want to pull up the epoxy that's not fully cured yet. So we put the cardboard down for any wheel turny parts. So when they turn that corner and go that way, then they're going to put the cardboard down. It works fine. I don't see any weight issues. I don't see any imprints. Epoxy looks fine where the thing came right in. So, all right. So we're starting to lay out the lines. Going by that map. So we got 1 inch in this shop and then 3/4 inch in the other shop. So these are all the 1 inch fittings. We're kind of spreading it out so we can see what we're looking at here. All the 3/4 inch fittings we're putting in that box so we can move to the other shop. And then, yeah. Today we're installing air lines in the front building as well. So Sky and I just brought over the 3/4 inch. We're gonna lay it out. Actually, Sky, if you want to cut it, and then we'll start to lay it out. I'll bring my map over from the other building and the box of accessories, and we'll lay this place out. The tricks will be get it up over the garage doors. This section right here. Okay, there you go. So that's a little opening to the back room. Air compressor is going to be in that room. We got to get the lines. We're probably going to drill holes through the concrete, which I did not bring a drill bit. Need to go buy a 2-inch drill. Boom.
Nice. Let's get the other one. I'll keep assembling these sets. I'll just start assembling these for you. And you want to drive forward? Let me know. And I'll move ready.
So the floors are looking really good. There's some interesting things coming back after a couple days. Air bubbles. Whoa. I'll have to file those down or something. A couple little tiny ones. Then this guy over here.
He didn't make it.
He didn't make it. Poor guy. He's not small.
No, he's your official mascot.
I don't know if he's still alive or if he's just stuck.
Oh no, he's dead.
It's only been 2 days.
Oh no, he's dead.
So as a machine shop, we need air. We need good quality air, clean air, dry air, lots of air. The right pressure, right regulation, all that. Every single CNC machine needs air. Surprisingly, the Nakamura is all hydraulic, so it doesn't actually need air, except for the odd air blast that we do. But everything else needs air. So how do we have to think about how to plan the plumbing and the air lines to get to each machine, to get to every air gun, to get to every working cell. So let's go back to the mess. All this garbage you see back here is just the last remnants of the old shop that we're like, grab it, put it here. So pardon the mess. So we got a brand new air compressor, because now that we have 2 buildings, we'll show you the other building in a bit. G1 in the front, this is G2 in the back. So we got a Kaiser SM10 air compressor. It was epic. Yeah, it's great. It's a rotary screw compressor. This one always runs and always idles. And I want to see the mic difference, because in the last video, the moving machines video, I talked about this briefly. We were using the Rode wireless mic. Now I'm using a Zoom H1. And in the Rode mic, you couldn't hear this thing at all. And in this one, maybe we can, I don't know. But it's idles for 5 minutes until it needs to be used again. So me personally, it's really loud right now. And it's kind of annoying, whereas the old compressor would just and then be on and off as it needs. Anyway, turned out good. So new compressor, and then all the blue lines that you see are made by Rapid Air. They're called Fast Pipe. We got the 1-inch system, and basically the compressor ties to the T, and then the piping goes around that way. And the key with, let's get away from this noise a little bit in case it is bad. The key with air is, in a perfect world, you want the air to go all the way around the shop and meet and have this continuous loop, so that if a machine if a machine over there needs air, it can pull it from either direction, and it doesn't always just have to go along this sequential chain, because then if you have a heavy user in the front and something needs it in the back, then the back machine's not going to get it. If you've got an air blaster, a sand blaster, it's going to hog a lot of air. So you want this loop to go around. So if you can, definitely do the loop. The fast pipe stuff was perfect. They have this epic, we'll show a screenshot right now, make sure to do that. We'll show, let's see. They have a planning system on their website where you're like, here's the layout of my shop, including obstacles and garage doors and everything. And it tells you how long, how many 90s, how many 45s, how many Ts, how many elbows, how many drops. You say, okay, I want 9 drops around the whole shop, and everything's this, and I want it, 8 feet above the ground, or whatever these are, 9 feet. Drops here, drops at a 4-foot level, and it plans everything for you. And you just click add to cart, and $5,000 later, you have everything you need for both shops. So if you look over here, we had to go up and above the loading door in the back, and then we teed down to a drop, and then we teed, there's a drop right there you can see. And I also, key point, if you're designing an air system, always put a ball valve right at each drop. Because it just really sucks. If you want to replace a fitting, you have to turn the air compressor off. Unless you have a drop or a ball valve and you turn it off and you're like, okay, now it's dead from here to here. I can unscrew everything, I can add whatever I want. We didn't have that at the old shop, and it was always annoying every time you needed to add a new air thing. So, got another drop over there, and drop every basically 20 feet. And then from the drops, we haven't put air to these 2 machines yet, but from the drops, I can just run air lines up over the unistrut. And yeah, the lines just go all the way around the shop. So if you come this way, you can see how we did it here. We used a 1/2-inch push to connect line going up to the machine, tied it to the unistrut, went down, and then now that machine has air. And they have a really cool, Rapid Air makes a really cool quick release connector here. Normally it's got the slider valve, that looks exactly like this. But they have a button here, so I'm gonna make a loud noise, but normally when you click it and there's so much air built up in the system, it goes, and then this thing flies out and it flies in your hand and it flies over for a second. Whereas they have a latching system here. So if I click it once, it's gonna make a loud noise. So it's draining the air now. It's actually not that bad at all. Draining the air almost all the way done, and then you click it again, and you're done. That is a much better system than before. And then double click to get it in. Love it, I like that a lot. All right, so without rambling and repeating myself too much, that concludes it for this building. This is G2. Let's go to G1, show you what the guys have got going over there and how we did some of the power and the air over there and the plumbing that they want to do we haven't done yet. All right, let's walk over to G1. It's very close, it's like right there. So there's, 20 feet, 2 parking spaces in between them. I think G2 is a little bit bigger and it's got a lot more offices, but G1 is still large. So we'll walk in the back door here. Sounds like the tumbler's on. So this is where we do all the finishing, all the tumbling, the deburring, polishing, sharpening, finishing. So I'll quick wrap up here, but we did the same fast pipe airlines here, except here we went 3/4 inch because there's no CNC machines here. 3/4 inch going all the way around. We got our old Kaiser 7.5C air compressor over here. We actually had to install, if you look in the corner here, we had to get a transformer for this machine because the power in this building, while it has the same 600 volt, 200 amp as the front building, they didn't need it here, so they only ran like single phase, that tiny little, this is a transformer, this baby up here. So that's a single phase transformer. So there's no 3-phase anywhere in the, wired for the building. So electricians had to add that 3-phase transformer for the compressor. The air just goes all the way through. We went through some holes in the ceiling. I think we drilled that one. And then over here, there was an existing hole. So we went through, put a drop there. Put a drop there. Went up, above, drops, all the way around. Power, we didn't have to do too much fancy stuff in this because everything's just going to be 110 except for the compressor. So, and the heat treat oven too, but that already had some wiring for it. And yeah, so this is the finishing department. A little empty, but Eric wants to pull his car in here and like work on it, so that's great. And lots of room for expansion and future growth. Yeah, and then a couple offices in the front. So as far as plumbing, right now they just have these two sinks. Actually, no, there is a sink in the corner over in that shop, but we definitely have to get the plumber to come back and do better and more sinkages, because they do a lot of washing and stuff here too. So we can do that. It's on our to-do list. Yeah, starting to get this place set up. Got the Shapeoko set up over here. Check this out. So Sky was making our G10 carrier rings for the lapping machine, and he milled into the waste board perfectly, just like you're supposed to. I basically left him alone with it, and he asked me a few questions, and I was like, no, you can handle the CNC machine, you figure it out. And he enjoyed the process. It was a lot of fun. And then we got the surface grinder there. We've got our heat treat cell here, which does take 240-volt single-phase power. And the tumbler just runs on 110. So that wraps up power, plumbing, lighting, and air for both new Grimsmo Knives buildings. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm certainly enjoying. And stay tuned, we got a lot more videos coming. Thanks, guys. Bye.